Well, back in 1991, I was more than busy running my own business. Had 2 toddlers at home and running a consulting firm. But one day I got a little white card from the city of Palo Alto saying that they wanted to raise the speed limit on my street. So unlike Steve, I had never really connected with politics. I had voted every election, of course, since I got my US citizenship. But I took my first trip to City Hall and I was impressed. There were 9 people sitting up on the dais who had never met me before, but they listened, they debated, and they voted. And it was 5-4 in my favor. So I was hooked. So I went on to become head of my neighborhood group, president of the Palo Alto Civic League, and 10 years later, I found myself running for city council. A few years later, I rolled out my year as mayor of Palo Alto with a strong call to action, which was to build a green economy through innovation. The world agenda at the time was deadly serious. Al Gore had just come out with his Inconvenient Truth. But the problem was that the scale of change that was called for, nothing less than to move our global economy and society into the post-petroleum era, was so daunting that everyone was just overwhelmed and paralyzed. The federal government wasn't doing anything. The state government was beginning to move, but very slowly. And happily, that left the stage wide open to the cities. So the first thing we did was gather some data. And very roughly, Palo Alto greenhouse gas emissions was 1/3 in transportation, 1/3 natural gas and electricity in the utility and building area, and 1/3 everything else, including landfill gas, waste issues. So the good news was there was a lot that we could do at the local level. And so we launched hundreds of programs. We built bike facilities, electric vehicle infrastructure, which you just heard about. In the utility area, we became leaders in green building standards. And we have our own utilities. So even today, we have 20% renewables in our electricity portfolio, going for 31%. So everyone jumped in. The clean tech entrepreneurs, we just heard from one, and the Sierra Club entrepreneurs, and environmentalists, of course, but also motel owners, homeowners, restaurateurs, everyone. But I have to say that the cities played a big role. We convened people, we set policy, and basically we stepped up to take a leadership role, and people responded. So I often ask myself what the role of government is, especially since there is so much cynicism about it. And to me, the role of government is for us to take collective action on issues of the highest common interest. And to me, there can be no higher interest than something like climate change, which is going to continue to affect many generations to come in an irreversible way. So I will end with my favorite quote, which is from Jonas Salk, developer of the vaccine and a great humanitarian. And he said, when the Brontosaurus went extinct, it wasn't its fault. But if we, humankind, if we go extinct, it will be our fault. And we humans have to evolve in order to survive. Thank you.